Oh, never mind. Wrong show.
So, hello everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Walter from Verbal Herb, and it is Wealth Wednesdays with Walter. I'm going to warn you guys up front. The last couple of days, I don't know if it's my internet, the internet company, what's going on, but sometimes I will freeze, but you can still hear me. Hopefully, whatever's going on with Xfinity, they will figure it out. I want to say right off the top, is one of the things I hate about being in Houston is the electricity and the cable and the internet. All of it is terrible. So anyway, I digress. It is Wealth Wednesdays, and we are going to be talking to Walter about different ways of earning money and learning how to keep it. Specifically, we're going to talk about that of Shaquille O'Neal. You guys know who Shaquille O'Neal is, most famous basketball player in the world, I would venture to say, and his unique take on children and money. And so before we get into that, I'd like to say hello to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you just viewers, but you are the third co-host because we feel like you should be heard as well. So today I'll try to get to each and every one of you guys' comments. So Walter, what say you before we get started?
Oh man, it's hot as hell. It's supposed to be 110 degrees in California. Um, this is, today we'll talk more about why you need to be prepared. In Pakistan, they had a flood that misplaced 33 million people. Their prime minister says that a third of their country could be underwater, and all kinds of shit I'm noticing going on in the world right now. Like a lot of the shelves are empty. It's going down. And the Federal Reserve came out last Friday and basically dropped a hammer, and now everyone's like, "Oh shit, okay, it's ready to get crazy." So we'll talk about that, but
Yes, indeed. So again, like I said, I might freeze up a little bit here and there, but you guys should be able to hear me. So hopefully this issue will get resolved on my end one of these days. So anyway, yes. Who else do we have on here so far? I want to say hello to everybody before we go ahead and get started. We have Demetrius Evans. How are you doing? And you say, nope, hopefully the degrees will be in the fields that allow the wealth to grow and impact Black people positively. Yes, indeed. And NYC River 103, how you doing? Says, no, he's paying for their education. To be earners, he's dead and gone. When he's dead and gone, why leave money to useless children? Yes, indeed. And Sean, how you doing? Says, I would say no because he became a sheriff, played in the NBA and got a college degree, and he has to do 1,000 commercials a year. Yes, indeed. And Thunder, how you doing? Mo Nate, what's going on with you? Al B, yes, indeed. Thank you so much for reminding people to give it a thumbs up. And Brother Reggie, how you doing? And hello, Patty said that's a great strategy. I plan to do something similar with my boys. I will only pay their college tuition bill if they bring home excellent grades. If not, they're stuck with loans. Whew. Julian, how you doing? And Kiana, what's going on with you? Big Rich, how you doing? And Chantel, hello. Said he has to keep his pool or trait of wealth to continue through his bloodline. Yes, indeed. And Roots Tracker, how you doing? Gary, Mac, what's going on? And Brother Joe Nell and Don, how are you? So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it again. I apologize for my issues, but hopefully you can still hear me. Shaquille O'Neal, of course, you guys know, is a superstar in the world of basketball. But not only is he a superstar in the world of basketball, he is also a sportscaster that is very popular, makes a lot of money from that, in addition to a whole host of businesses that he owns. So it is said that he is worth about $400 million and earns about $60 million per year. And he has 6 children. And so he said on a morning show in Australia the following about his children having to earn degrees. And so he says, in order to get my cheese, you have to present me with 2 degrees, not 1, but 2 degrees. And so he also says, I'm teaching them about generational wealth right now. I tell them all the time, we don't need another NBA player in the house. If you want to play, I can help you get there, but I would rather see a doctor, a dentist, a veterinarian, a world traveler, or a hedge fund guy. And so again, he's making them get 2 degrees in order to inherit his money. Now, it is said that between the 6 children, if you were to go today, they would see almost $70 million a piece. So, that's quite a bit of money. But as you guys have all said, they need to learn how to keep this money, because it is said that rarely does a first generation of millionaires produce a second one, because typically they tend to give their children everything and rob them of the opportunity and somewhat the struggle to earn it. And so who else came on here? Cece, how you doing? And Streets Project, how are you? So all you guys are saying, no, he is not wrong. Y'all saying also that he could be raising entitled brats. And Brother Jonelle says these are preludes, the crash of the stock market, economic collapse of a debt nation called America will not be averted. Yes, indeed, we're seeing a whole lot of things take place all over the world. And so, Walter, what is your take on this? You kind of disappeared a little bit. So he took off for a second. So we can hear you. We just can't see you.
Huh. I need to develop that trick. How about now?
A smile or something so we can see your teeth. I don't know what's going on.
Oh no, I'm here. Well, let me address the last thing. That'll be the easiest. The preludes, the crash and all that. Because what generally happens in a market like this is we have what we call these bull traps, where the market will bounce, but there's no foundation. So it goes up and then it comes down. So if you look at like Amazon, a bunch of these stocks, Netflix, they're starting to gain momentum. But what happens is as, the market gets shakier, some of this news comes out, like interest rates, the real estate market, supply chain. We still have all that. We still have inflation, wages are out of control, rent's out of control. And so those things are starting to pile up to the point where Jerome Powell is saying, listen, you guys, we about to stop the party. And I don't know if you've ever been at a party where they ran out of alcohol, or you went to a wedding with no alcohol and the reception was like 4 minutes. In my opinion, that's what's getting ready to happen. And we see this where everyone's just, partying like ain't nothing going on. And then boom, it just drops. So your 401k that was 100,000 is worth 80. And now there's a lot of things you won't be able to participate in financially because you weren't ready. And that's happening right now. So I don't know if you guys have been to your grocery stores and tried to buy beer, or a lot of the stuff, the shelves are empty as we speak. A lot of the shelves are empty, and we still have so much going on, and we haven't even had a natural, not like a big one, not yet, right? You haven't had any?
You said, have we had a big natural disaster
yet? Not yet, like not this year. You guys haven't had anything, like I think some of the states have got hit.
Yeah, well, a lot of states like Dallas have gotten hit. I know Vegas got hit a while ago. Some other parts of Texas, and of course, I think it was Alabama, Kentucky, and all those places have gotten hit with floods and things like that. But going back to that, Shaquille O'Neal and his strategy with the children having to earn 2 degrees, not one, in order to inherit the money. What do you say about that? Do you think he's wrong? Do you think he's on the right track? Like, what do you think overall?
He should. Here's what I would do with my kids, but then I don't have $600 million or $400 million. So when I get to $400 million, my attitude, I'm sure, is going to change. But I like the part about the education. I would just add, like, they have to start their own businesses, because a lot of kids in college, as they get out, and they still don't have the street smarts. They don't have the hustle to go out and start a business. They're just in school, and they get out, and it's like, oh, we don't know what to do. So they need to go through like ups and downs of businesses. They need to go through the drama. Like when you're running a business and one day it just seems like it's all over, and you need to go through that feeling of saying, shit, it's over. Do I give up? Or do I keep going? Do I sit down, shut off the lights, and do I regroup and plan another day? So I think once you go through that enough times, I think that's what makes an entrepreneur. That's why you'll hear people that haven't been to college that would have street smarts that just run circles around the competition, because experience, you can't teach experience. Like I used to always say, like if a man say he gonna hit you, you'll be all right one day, but if he slapped the shit out of you, you're gonna remember that. You forget shit that's said, you remember stuff that happens. So experience is the key. And I think, and again, Shaq's got more money than God, so he knows best for his kids. But for my kids, it's experience, because they are spoiled. And you can't leave somebody $400 million and they don't have no skills, businesses. They should have 2 degrees at least, and there's a lot they should have to do before, because they should prove themselves. Because honestly, what did it take Shaq to make that money?
Well, I mean, speaking of that, he didn't get it, just fall out the sky. Obviously, he had to hone in on his, craft of being a basketball player in the first place, being one of the greatest basketball players, ever lived and all of that, one of the greatest centers anyway. And don't get me to talking about basketball because I don't know what I'm talking about really. But I know that he had to put in the time in the gym and, hone in all of that practice and stuff enough to at least get to the point of being a great basketball player and then getting all the endorsements and things that he still benefits from. So I say all that to say it didn't just come to him easily, right? He had to work for it. And so my opinion, I totally agree that the children should have to earn that. You think about somebody like Donald Trump. I don't know, he's not very popular, but even he was like, my children need to go to school before they could come, and I'm sorry that I might be freezing a little bit, so forgive me. He said that my children need to go to school and get a degree before they can come work in the family business, because I need them to know, at least business 101 or the basics before they come in here and not know what they're doing. And I have to spend so much time trying to teach them. So at least go get the foundation, then you could come back. So what Shaq is doing is not rare. Now, I also saw in another interview where he said he's not going to give his boys anything. He said he'll always take care of his girls and his mama and his ex-wives. I'll always take care of them. But he said, my boys, yeah, they got to get it out the mud like I did. So, and Pioneer, how you doing? And the Thunder, you says, I've never understood why folks freak out about market crash. I look at it as everything is on sale. I cleaned up on an airline stock and hotel stock when the pandemic hit. Yes, those were excellent stocks, by the way. And Eli, how you doing? He says Shaq isn't wrong for that. And LB says, number 1, basketball weaving degree, and 2, twerking degree. I'm in. You tripping. Pioneer, you say, I'm not sure about having to earn 2 degrees, but he's right to make his children prove themselves before leaving them all his money. He's right to force them to develop themselves. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, because as someone said on here before, what happens is you do end up raising people who are entitled. My Danny's got all this money, and they're driving these nice high-end cars and they never have to work for anything. And so, a lot of times, even with people who don't have a whole lot of money, when they leave property and things like that to people who didn't have to work for it, let's say like in our community, grandma, somebody pass away and they leave the house to the grandchildren. What do the grandchildren do? We gonna sell it. We gonna sell it so we can divvy the money, go off to the Bahamas, Jamaica, and trick off the money, and then there goes grandma's house. And I'm pretty sure she didn't give it to them so they could, trick off the money and get rid of the house. Because think about most people's grandmothers back in the day, like both of my grandmothers were domestics, where they worked for white people, helping them clean their houses and take care of their children and stuff. So they both had properties. And I say all that to say it didn't come easy to them. They had to actually work for it. And so to give it to children or grandchildren who don't know anything about maintaining a house, and they lose it maybe due to property taxes or something like that. Yeah, I mean, it's a horrible shame. But imagine if they would have learned about keeping a house and all of that, then we in our community would be better off, instead of having, because that's kind of what leads to our neighborhoods being gentrified, is us not keeping grandma's house. We sell it to the highest bidder, and then that gets rid of us in those neighborhoods. So let's see here. I hope I say this right. How about to say this? Musa, how you doing? It says, make them great and productive people. I know Africans who have several degrees. It is knowledge and the kind of wealth they are going to receive. They need to be wise. I love his reasoning. I love it too. Like, you're not going to just fall into money. Money ain't just going to fall into your lap, right? And LBS, indeed, they cash out. They take grandma's house and cash out and don't have anything to show for it. They don't cash out and go buy other properties. They cash out to just go do stuff, right? And get material things. And Michael, you says, I say that earning a business degree either by attending community college going to a 4-year college or finding a business mentor. Today's job market requires more than basic understanding. Or absolutely, I totally agree. But at least if they have basic understanding, they'll know kind of where to go. And hello, Miss Black, how are you doing this fine day? And Dorothy, how are you? Says excellent idea. He did the right thing. And Thundy says, my personal indication for how the market is doing is to look at the bond rates. When the U.S. savings bond rates goes up, the market isn't doing so well. I take your word for it. And Michael says, Demetri, even if Donald Trump's kids don't attend college, but they will still be wealthy, he can afford to mentor and teach his kids about business. Yeah, and I totally agree with you on that. But there's nothing like your kid having to go outside of you, maybe go to school and, have to work with the professors or whatever they need to do to try to do something on their own, right? So I'm not mad at the idea. Latrell, how you doing? He says, nope, he sure is not. Earn it or else go dad. And Thunder says, also think about how grandma get that house, Pawpaw paid for it and left it to her with a life insurance policy to make sure she was taken care of. Way to go, Pawpaw. And Pioneer says, we should focus less on working on corporate America and more on building our own economy with our own businesses and our own cities inside the United States. So, Walter, what say you?
First of all, Black people, we got to learn how to get clean running water. That would be a magnificent feat. And I don't know why is it. I ain't gonna get stuck on the Jackson, Mississippi thing. I was watching that this morning, and I'm like, what would it take for Black people to get running clean water? Think about that for a second, because I know we're talking about the stock market and all that other stuff and starting our own economy. What if we just get some clean water and get our shit together with the government help? Because right now, Black people, we do have government help. Say what you want about the government. I'm not a fan of the current one. But Black people, there is help for us. Maybe not as a color, but there's help for people, depending on what your situation is. Right? During the pandemic, we all got help, me and my sister, right? We Black. And there's still a lot of stuff out there for us. So what if we could take what we've been given, and maybe given is the wrong word, maybe what we've earned, or say what you want to say. What if we take that and start doing something with it? Because right now, the world, in my opinion, is collapsing. Whether it's falling, the weather is crazy, the markets, economies. I mean, it's hitting the fan, and a lot of us aren't ready. So, what if we just focus on what we could do? Like if you look at Shaq, what he did, he worked hard. He's in a commercial every day, and he's building wealth. And he's now getting to the point where he's like, okay, what do I do now for the next generation? And I think he's doing a good job by showing them the work. Shaq, I don't know any other NBA player that works harder than Shaquille O'Neal. On social media, Instagram, I see him every day at an event. I don't know how he does it and sees his family. But then I see him with his family, DJing in the kitchen and so, Shaq is truly Superman. What if we could follow his example and just work like hell and start stacking money? That's it. Start with stacking the money. The rest of that stuff will fall into place. Us starting our own economy. Honestly, I'm not interested in Black people starting their own economy right now. I'm not interested in it because I know what it would look like right now. Because we have to get used to being strong and feeling good about ourselves. So I like all the other races and nations, everybody I like being able to do this as a group because it's easier to build wealth when you have government systems and things behind you. So I don't know if I'd ever want that, honestly. I know some people are like, I want Black people only. And I just love all races. I like my race the most. And I think we need to take care of self. So I'd rather just focus on getting the bag, regardless of who is part of the environment.
Absolutely. So I was looking on YouTube and I see that I am freezing up. I completely hate that this internet service is not acting right. I even bumped up my speed, paid more money, and it's still not acting right. So I don't know. I have to see what's going on with this whole internet thing. I don't know if it's just the time of day of what, but it sucks. So
And it's Texas in general. Your internet there, my lake house sucks. And I get a message every other day, internet's out. You got to boil your water. The power's out. My God.
it's terrible. I'll tell you that. I'm not used to, such unprofessionalism. I, really would like for you guys to see me without freezing up, but I think that you can hear me. So my apologies for that. And Kara, how you doing? He says, I don't think so. You can get a dual degree at the same time, which is very true. And the Pioneer says, Walter asks an excellent question. Just running clean water and paved streets. Why are so many Black communities around the world full of dirt covered, unpaved streets? Because we don't vote for the right people. That starts with your city council people and your city planning committee. They're the ones that's in direct control of that. But we vote in people that look like us, because they look like us. But we don't ever ask what could they do, and because even living in here in Texas, I like to walk outside, but as you guys know, I'm afraid of dogs, and there's not a lot of sidewalks here. Not a lot of sidewalks here at all, and so and people in Houston can't drive. So last thing I'm trying to do is get ran over. So yeah, I wonder what's going on with that. But so you're absolutely right. I know what you meant, Pioneer. And Diabli, I hope I said it right. How you doing? You say Shaq is correct. Why let those brats gain millions with nothing of worth to show for it? I totally agree with you. I think they should have to earn it. And Thunder, I said, DK, you have officially become a Southern lady drinking sweet tea from a mason jar. Welcome. It's actually flavored water, but I like mason jars. Yes, indeed. And Bus Stop, how you doing? He says, good for him. And Diaboli, I hope I said that right again. He says, I am on my savings this year, saved about 60% of my salary this year. Wow, that is amazing. And Michael says, Walter, you need to talk to Philip Scott about building your own economy.
I would love to talk to Philip Scott. And I mean, I don't know who he is, but I'm open to learning. I will write this brother's name down, but I can tell you what, I do have my own economy. But I think I know what you mean. When you say own economy, maybe you're talking about groups, us doing it together, that economy, which honestly I'm not really interested in at the moment. Like I was saying earlier, you need read my shirt. Thou that gives a shirt off his back shall be naked. That's another way of saying do for self. And that, if we do for self, then we could get together. You guys in dating, women, you know this. If you have your shit together and you get with a man who has his shit together, it's easier to do shit together. But if you carrying his broke ass around and you picking up the tab and picking his ass up, and every time you turn around, he got more excuses than the Negro going to jail, you're going to get tired of that. If y'all got y'all stuff together, it's easier to move faster. That is, so when I think of own economy, I think about that. You know what I'm saying? If I can call D and say, hey, let's get together and get this money. You know, I got the deal. You got the credit. I'll put up some money. Let's go get it. That is building our own economy. And the reason why Flint, Michigan, and Jackson, Mississippi don't have clean water, because the Black people there, they ain't got no money. When you start stacking your shit and you have wealth, you have power. Period. That's it. Clean water comes with, first of all, everyone should have clean water. The fact that they don't is just wild. It's just, regardless of how poor you are, your municipalities, you should have clean water. I mean, damn. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Pioneer says, Queen, I'm not talking about just in the United States, but in Africa, where Black people control most of the economy. What's stopping them from paving most of the streets like many Asian communities? I'm not, well, I guess you have to define who them are. Like I said, here usually, because I'm not quite sure how it works in Africa. I do know a little bit about how it works here in the States. A lot of times, it's like I said, it's the city council. And most of the time, Black people can't stop them from building houses and things on dump sites and bringing in more waste sites and things like that. So, I mean, sidewalks is probably the least of the concerns. And so we in the Black community, unfortunately, have become very apathetic when it comes to politics and the things that go on around us. And so that's what I think it is. And we continue to elect people who don't care. And my daughter and I was driving through it's a neighborhood out here called Hunter's Green or something like that, where the houses are giant houses. They got Trader Joe's and Whole Foods across the street from each other and all of that kind of stuff. And I said, you notice how you ain't went over there, pothole over here. The streets are nice and they were fixing the streets and stuff like that. And I said, that is because the people that live here, like Walter said, they have money and they will get on the bumper of their city council people if their neighborhood is not up to par. Because we know we have potholes and things like that. It does tear up your car, put wear and tear on it, and that's going to cost you more money in the long run. But we should be at the city council meetings as well, raising hell. When are we going to get our streets fixed and sidewalks and all that stuff? But we don't do that. We show up kind of after the fact. And Dorothy, you say, personally, I believe we need to pool our resources together and build our own everything. This mindset of waiting on the government to help is fruitless. We need independence, one unified body. I totally agree. Do for self, right? Or we've been called to do for self for so long. Taking it all the way back to that of, Marcus Garvey, and including that of the Nation of Islam and, Dr. Claude Anderson and everybody else in between. We've been asked to do for self, but for whatever reason, we won't do it. And Michael, he says, you telling Walter, Walter knows who Phil Scott is.
You talking about Phil?
Yeah.
I know Phil. You use this government name, Philip Scott. I ain't never heard him call himself that.
Yeah, he knows who Philip Scott is. He's well aware of that.
Oh,
and, Peachy Queenie, how you doing? Again, sorry for freezing up you guys. It says, I have my two sons earned 2 degrees apiece, but I earned my 2 first. Absolutely. You can't tell your kids to do something you ain't doing. Well, I guess you kind of can if it's your money, right? If you want this money, you're going to do what I ask you to do to get it. But yes, good for you as well for earning 2 degrees. Pioneer says, well, in the case of Flint, the people were deliberately poisoned unknowingly. I do blame them to a certain degree for not knowing what the racists were doing to them. But that situation was different. Yeah. And as far as I know, have they fixed it or not? Is it totally up and running, up to par? But it's not just Flint, but there's a lot of places all over the country. And again, it tends to affect us disproportionately. We're the one with the crappy water and, a whole bunch of other stuff. And people are like, well, we're going to get to it. Y'all remember when Barack Obama went to Flint, Michigan, and he stood up there in front of everybody and he all drink the water. He drank the water. It's like, come on, man, damn well that ain't the same water these people drinking. Don't lie to kick it. But what he did is he went there and sold them, some nonsense. Like, well, if the president will drink it, you can drink it too. And it's like, dude, you ain't drinking the same water, okay? Don't lie. Damon, how you doing? Says positive vibes to all in the chat. Mad love and respect to Miss K and Walter. Thank you so much. And mad love and respect to you as well. And Diaboli, you say Black priorities aren't in order. If you have children, have life insurance. If you have brothers and sisters, work together via group economics. Yeah, you would think it really is that simple, but for some reason, we're having a hard time getting that into our minds. And Jan Michael, how you doing? It says, hey, now, greetings. Not my choice on his business. On subject in general, how about increments upon achieving combined levels? Go figure. Well, and also sounds like that's going to take place when he dies, right? So sounds like Shaq is going to be here for a long time. But in the meantime, there's things they can do to earn the money. They have way more opportunities than everybody else would, just simply because of who their dad is, right? So it sounds like his kids have, the older ones, they have jobs and positions and things like that. But again, he says he's not really interested in raising his children to play basketball. There's so many other things they can do. Pioneer says, since they claim they fixed it and stopped poisoning the water, but the problem is Flint is still in the Black city and white folks are still running the water supply. They're making the same damn mistake again. And that's right. You would know because you are in Michigan, maybe not Flint, but you would know. Yeah, I don't believe that they fixed it either. And originally it was Black people that sold other Black people up the river with that water, because then they divert the clean water or some other source of water, the dirty water, to Flint when they could have used cleaner water, if I'm not mistaken. And Dorothy says, He who feeds you controls you. Yes, indeed. He says we keep renting instead of buying, and we have zero control over what happens to the areas we live in because we don't own the deed to the property. Yes, indeed. Yeah, we should be focused more on home ownership. And Thunder says, question, since we're talking about leaving things to children, what would be the best way to go about doing that, Walter?
So let me tell you what I'm doing for my kids. It may not be the best way, but it's what I'm doing. One, and I saw the brother up here. What's the what's his name? Diablo Furtis. And I'd be interested in knowing how you got to that name. I might just steal the first two names for myself. But what I'm doing, I like this rhetoric. So what I'm doing is I have a bunch of life insurance, and so one, and two, what I do is I take my kids, like we do these retreats or monthly. We'll go somewhere and we'll just get together, and I start sliding in like, here's what you should be doing financially, and I try and spoon feed them. But I have a bunch of life insurance, so if I die, my kids are millionaires. Not like, oh, let's go make it rain. No, just here's some money, and I left them sorry it's so long, but it's 32-page document of what to do with the money, where to invest it, stocks, bonds, real estate, how much to keep in cash, what books, what movies. Like they have to watch the Thomas Crown Affair and the Usual Suspects and Wall Street, movies they need to watch before they get the money. And I put that they need to get a degree from the College of Financial Planning, which only takes 6 months to do before they get the money, so they know how to think like a financial planner. So that is what I've done for them, in addition to, whatever real estate, assets, cars, investments, whatever I have. I just constantly remind them what it took me to get it. And I constantly trying to get them to work in the business. So like my son, Miles, me and him work together. We bought real estate together. We do financial. I taught him financial services. So now he understands money. My son, Evan, I'm coming after him next. And so I just try and engulf them in my world. That way, if something were to happen to me, they can just take over. Like my father used to take me to work. And so it's ironic. I said I never wanted to be a mechanic, but I have a car business and I'm forever dealing with mechanics. So even though I don't know how to do the mechanic work, I know how to look a mechanic in the face and say, yo, that ain't right. I know better than that because I spent 20, 30 years of my life dealing with mechanics. So I try and teach them what I'm doing. Number one, leave them life insurance, which is easy if you can get it health-wise. And just let your kids know what you have and what it took to get it and how to get it. And that, no, you can't borrow shit from me. No, I ain't got it. No, you're not getting my kid. Some of my kids have my credit card, but they have small limits. And constantly show them how to do it. And then if something happens to me, then I feel like they at least know what to do versus just, because we feel bad for kids. And so we feel like, we had it hard. They shouldn't have it hard. And I think they should have it hard, but have a safety net, which is why I have a ton of life insurance. That makes sense.
So you said you think they should have it hard. What do you mean by that? They should have it hard.
Well, maybe hard is not the word, but I think they should go through the experience. Experience is hard, right? Like experience. What's that saying? Say, experience comes from. Oh Lord, have mercy. I can't remember what it was. Good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. So I know there's stuff that I would not do over. There's a bunch of stuff from dating to financial services. I remember we owned all those real estate properties and we were ready to cash out. And some lawyer talked me into selling all my properties and converting them to condos, and I lost every goddamn thing. Woo! I remember sitting on my sister's couch. Me and my girl slept on her couch for a minute. People thought I had it hard. You ain't had it hard. And Dee wasn't as nice as she is right now. Dee, welcome to the house. You motherfuckers out.
I was like, with so many people there, I was like, and I don't want to say I'm a neat freak, but I like things clean. And they're like, it is clean. I'm like, no, it's not.
It was me, my girlfriend, my mama, my sister, three of my kids, her daughter, and well, whatever. Whatever that was.
Nobody.
In the house. But you know the cool part is that is one of the times where I felt the most at ease because I didn't have the whole household the bills. When you got 8 people splitting the rents and pitching in for food, man, if black people, if we can learn to do that, oh man, maybe not in a house, that's 1,500 square feet, but you know, but in Mexico and China, 1,500 square feet, man, they have 30 people up in there. So, oh no, the best financial gurus, and I don't really call myself a guru. I think people say that about me. I like to say, well, I am I'm also going through it. You know what I'm saying? So I have an ATI also, or AGTI also going through it. What makes a guru? Somebody that's been through it. Somebody that hasn't been through ups and downs, I don't really listen to them because that's the person who, when something bad happens, is not ready. You know what I'm saying? We used to joke about this. Well, I'm gonna leave it alone. Anyways, if you're not ready, like if you have a good your whole life and something bad happens, it's horrible. That's why it's better to have stuff happen to you at a lower level, if that makes sense. Versus when you get going and then something happens, it's too hard. If that makes sense. Hell no. Ain't no, the answer is no. You can own as much as you want. Matter of fact, if you watch Monopoly, that's the whole name of the game. Man, I'm telling you, my grandkids, I'm gonna get me a Monopoly board. That is the best game in the world. Like, remember owning Boardwalk? And every time they landed on your shit, you had to pay. If they could have just took a Monopoly and put in school and said, okay, kiddies, here's what we're going to play. This semester is we're playing Monopoly. Here's how we got the Boardwalk. Here's how we got to Missouri Avenue, all these. And here's what we're going to do to keep it. Damn. And what was next? I don't know where this glare is coming from. What was next to Boardwalk? Do you remember that? Remember when you passed Boardwalk? What was right there? Wasn't it jail? Wasn't it? I have to look at the board. Like, you used to be able to slide through jail, or you had to get the card to go out of jail. And what did you have to do to get out of jail? Remember that?
You'd have to get a get out of jail free card or something like that.
Weren't you able to pay to get out of jail or something like that?
Yeah, it's like $200 or something.
Yes, that is a lesson for people, because if you are rich, you can get away with a lot of shit.
I'm just saying it's Baltic Avenue.
Baltic Avenue. Remember those? So when you own those, I just remember that was the business only knows. So that's what we should be teaching. And I think that's kind of, in a way, what Shaquille, I think he's trying to do is get his kids to get, hey, get some experience. If something happens, what are you doing? Like, can you do what I did? So, and then
I'm gonna put this other question up. I was just kind of putting these things up. If y'all have questions, just keep on having the questions coming. So here we go.
Right, can you go back to that really quick, and then I want to deal with this. This one, just go one more back. Okay, here we go. Root trackers. Let me say this, and we talked about this in the previous shows. We need to get past the healing and the trauma shit. That is not going to help us get ahead. You don't ever get over trauma. You don't ever heal. What you do is you move on, or you build on top of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you really ever heal from something, or do you just get better at the experience? Do you know what I'm saying? So I think we as Black people, we reminisce with the past. We have to heal from our trauma. I don't believe that. Let's use credit for a second. Like, heal from, I need to fix my bad credit. No, you don't. What you need to do is add to your bad credit some good credit. You understand what I'm saying? Black people, we can build wealth and not have to necessarily heal from the trauma. And do we really want to heal from it? Wouldn't it be nice to know that that shit is a possibility if we slip again? You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, the only I mean, I get where she's going with that, because we do need to heal. Because if you, I always say this: I'm not healed. I am healing. I'm one of those people that's always healing. Because you feel like you say, "Well, I'm healed, then I'm good." Then a trigger comes and then you're messed up. So we're always healing. But I get where she's going with it. We do need to heal, from past traumas, and things like that. Because as Dr. Joy DeGruy talks about in post-traumatic slave syndrome or disorder, whatever it is, I have the book over there. She talks about the things that we carried from slavery, and we are still living in those things, even though our ancestors are not here anymore, but those things have been passed down. So I think one thing we need to be cognizant that we are still operating in that realm. And then, yes, some healing needs to take place, because when you have no knowledge of self and you are still operating as the walking dead, then all of the stuff that we're talking about today, it kind of doesn't resonate, because there's so much other stuff people are dealing with. So I get why she said that, but I also do agree that you'll never be totally healed. So to your point, yeah, you got to keep going through it as you're healing. So I get it.
yeah, let's move on, people. Like, let's just go.
Well, also too, and again, I'm forgive me for freezing up a little bit. My internet sucks in Houston. So yeah, I think it's ideal that we move on. But again, we live in the United States of America. It's kind of hard to move on from things when we are continuously being traumatized. I saw this morning. There was another black man that was asleep in his room, and the police bust into his house and shot him to death right as he was sleeping. So with those are to say that we just need to move on. I think it's very utopian speaking. Although there are some things we do need to move on, but I think we do ourselves a disservice when we deny that there's still trauma being exacted upon us as Black people.
Let me ask you this too, and I want to play devil's advocate a little bit. Do you think that any white men were murdered in their bed tonight? Do you think any Asian, Filipinos, Indians? Do you think any Mexicans were murdered today by the police unjustifiably?
Um, I don't know. I would probably say it's possible that they were.
Absolutely. It happens to black people. Definitely, probably more than any other race. But that stuff is going to continue to happen. Like, so do I build my wealth or not build it based on the fact that we're still being murdered?
Well, no, I don't think. I think there's two things going on here. I don't think she was saying that we don't build. I think she was saying, in addition to, we need to address those things. It's just true. I mean, because it's like, you when you go into a new relationship and you've experienced trauma and drama in your last relationship, what do you do if you don't unpack that and understand and deal with what you've been through? You bring that along with you, and eventually it becomes poisonous to your new relationship because you haven't dealt with those traumas. And so the same thing is true for us as Black people. So no one is saying that we can't do both, but we do need to recognize we do have traumas that we need to deal with. It's just a fact.
Right. We're gonna have traumas and we're gonna continue to, but we need to get to the point where we just, okay, let me say it this way. I have a client I'm supposed to meet with last week. And she was like, oh, something came up. I need to meet you next month. And so normally when someone does that to me, I just mentally X them out of my life forever. Because nothing should ever come up when it comes to the money. Nothing should come up. Like, it's funny, some people say, oh, I got to do these things so I can't deal with my money, but you still go to work. Man, some people will lose a family member and they will be at work in 3 days. Oh, I'm sorry about the funeral. Oh, yesterday my cousin died and I was at a funeral. But I'm back at work today. But when it comes to building wealth and doing the right thing, then it's like they got more excuses than I don't know who. The point I'm making, we should always be going after the money. Always. I don't care what happens in your life. Somebody dies, it rains, Jesus shows up, whatever it is, you should always stay working with the money. And that's what Black people, I think, we suffer at, because we got so many things that can happen to us and we stop dealing with the money. You should never take your eye off the money, ever. I don't care what's going on in your life. Never take your eye off the money. Because other races, I think the reason the gap is not getting smaller the way that it should is because we focus on so many other things. Man, I can't tell you how many people got wrapped up into that Beyonce shit a few weeks ago, or this, or man, we worried about what's her name's the gymnast, her hair and shit. You know, remember that? This was
I
long
do.
time ago.
I do.
We talking about, man, half the Black women in America in a debate over this woman's hair. I'm like, man, that woman is doing her job. She is building wealth. Why don't we focus on the wealth? Period. And let all the other trauma, because we're going to always have trauma. I'm sorry, you guys. I wish it were different. And we got Joe Biden in the White House. I'm surprised we don't have more trauma as Black people dealing with this dude in the White House and all the shit he's going through right now. I'm surprised we don't have more trauma. But you know what we can do? We can keep stacking our money. We can, some of you guys, I'm telling you, some of you guys have good credit and you're not doing shit with it. Like me and Dee always talk about building. Every time me and her talk, most of the time, if it ain't about some family bullshit, we're talking about building wealth. Buying a house next to her, buying a house in the hood. Like, that's the conversations you should always be having, period. And when we get to that as Black people, man, I'm telling you, the earth will tremble. Africa will start looking at us like, whoa, we want them back. But until then, we just gonna be some reminiscent Negroes reminiscing over the past. I mean, Black Wall Street sucked for Black people. But what can we do to rebuild and protect the next one? That's what I want to talk about. And I don't worship and money, say what you want. You know the thing about worshiping money, and I don't worship money. I don't worship anything. But you know what I like about money is it allows me to do the stuff I enjoy doing. I enjoy hanging out with my kids for the weekend and being like, no, you guys don't worry about it. I got it. We got this. Some of y'all worshiping shit you can't eat, you never even seen. Never seen, never will see. Like, it blows me away when people talk about, oh, you worship money. I can see money. I can feel money. You know what I'm saying? I've seen money. Money show up every day at my crib. It show up every day. Period. So worship or whatever, idolize money, call it what you want. If I'm gonna idolize something, I'm gonna idolize something I can see. So we need to cut that shit out. Stop attacking each other and using religion to do it. Money moves the planet.
Well, I don't think that's what he was saying. That's what I'm here for, y'all. I'm here to interpret things.
Well,
And
I don't know. I have a sensitive spot for the money is the root to all evil and worshiping money and all that shit. I think if you're gonna worship something, it should be the money and what it allows you to do. Because some of y'all got kids and relatives out the dock about to do some dumb shit for the lack of money. Period.
and that's what they say. The root to all evil. They actually say the root to evil of all evil is the love of money. But some people, especially that of Reverend Ike, y'all remember Reverend Ike from back in the day? He said the lack of money is the root to all evil because people do some strange things for the change when they don't have it. And so I think that's an excellent way of looking at it. But I don't believe he was saying that we're worshiping money or anything like that. And Black, thank you so much for becoming a new member. I love and appreciate you for that. Walter, I don't know where you went, but can you answer Miss Monet's question here?
How would you recommend paying for policies monthly every 6 months? Pay for it however you can. Now, with life insurance, they will let you pay monthly. So with my life insurance, they pull the money out every month. I have all my policies on a automatic debit. So it just comes out automatically. So it's not anything that I have to worry about. It just comes out. Now with term policies, you definitely, you can pay yearly, every 6 months. The bigger your payment, the smaller your premium. So if you pay yearly, your premiums are smaller than if you pay monthly. So that is one thing you could do to save you some money long term. I tend to pay for my policies monthly because I could be flipping the money before I give it to the insurance company. So that's what I do. Otherwise, you could, what am I saying? You could pay it up for the year, but if what I'm doing is I pay monthly. Now for cash value, the more money you put in at once, the faster it has a potential of growing. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, kid. Key bro. Bree, bro. How you doing? And thank you for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. I'm going to continue reading the questions here. Root Trackers, you say it's empowerment, not reminiscing in the past. So absolutely, I totally agree with you. And the other thing too is we should not forget our past. But I do agree, we shouldn't use it as an excuse, but we should always remember our past. Everybody else remembers their past. They make sure we remember it too. So I don't have a problem with remembering the past, but I think that our ancestors and Root Trackers, I know you're saying the same thing, would want us to remember them and also remember to go and be successful, move the ball further than they did. So yeah, I totally agree. Only Pamela's Way, how you doing? And Dorothy says poverty is a great evil. Absolutely. I mean, people, like, we get into the habit sometimes of demonizing money. And a lot of times too, we're taught that in church. We're taught that in our community. Oh, it's so evil. The rich are horrible people. They're greedy, money grubbing individuals. And some of that is true. But look at all the things you can do with money. I know having my bills paid, which I was not always at that situation. I'll tell you right now, having my bills paid, having, to pay for my roof over my head, I know I sleep better at night. I also sleep better at night knowing that when I go to the store with my daughter, we're not like, okay, listen, we don't eat some more beans and rice. We go in the store. Of course, we're, frugal, but we pretty much go get what we want. So that is a great feeling. So yeah, money is very useful. Just in the Bible, it's Ecclesiastics. I forget what it is exactly, but it does talk about, money answers all things. So yeah, money is very important. And Michael says, Walter, other groups were able to build wealth and maintain it because they did not have to suffer from racism and white supremacy. Wealthy Black people had it worse than others due to systemic racism. You're absolutely right. Our ancestors that had something back in the day, or you best believe the white folks in there came up in there, making up excuses to get rid of them, take their properties and take over. Black Wall Street is a perfect example. Most of those people that lived there were wealthy. They were upwardly mobile and had things. And now they got a plaque to commemorate what happened to them. And, of course, there's a lot of denial going on around what happened there. But that whole lucrative town, and there were so many more other ones.
I agree. I agree that stuff happened, but it's in the past. Like, you guys, listen, you don't have to talk to me about Black Wall Street. I was in Wall Street for a long time, and I send my family like Wall Street videos, Black Wall. Matter of fact, I sent that video to all my kids. I was like, fuck the system. We need to get our weapons and get our shit. Let's move when they come back. So I understand the pain from Black Wall Street and all. I'm not blowing that off. I'm saying we can't do shit about it, but move ahead and build our shit and get some weapons. Period. I was gonna quote Nas, get yourself a gun. Period. Black people, if every Black person had a gun and we were ready, I hate to keep quoting January 6th, man, but they rolled up to the Capitol and they were disrespectful to the Capitol, which is really crazy though, because that's what they did to get the Capitol. Next subject. But maybe I should find another example. But having weapons and protection is what you need.
Well, speaking of which, speaking of January 6th, the white folks, what was it? Lindsey Graham, he said that if they prosecute Trump for, those unclassified documents that he took, or the classified documents that he took, rather, that there will be rioting in the streets. That's what he said. And I've seen other, videos of white people talking about, what's going to happen. It's going to be what is it? Revolution or whatever it is, if that happens. And so they're sending out a warning that if you guys do something to him, we'll be back. So yeah, we definitely need protection. But
Yes,
as far as
it's going to be madness if something happens to Donald Trump. And I don't know why they keep messing with that dude. Man, they got a taste of what it would be like if something happened to Donald Trump. I want it to be like that for Black people. Something happens to one of us, or, and I think that's probably one of the reasons they haven't messed with the minister, because I would hope it would be mad, like, destruction of this country. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we need to have our weapons and be ready. Man, I'm telling you, until you can have all the money you want, you walk up to the ATM and you got $4,000 you putting in it, and somebody walk up on you, what you gonna do? But you putting in $4,000, you got a 9mm on your hip, and you looking in the mirror, and somebody see that 9, they gonna think twice about robbing you. So we as Black people can build, but just protect ourselves.
And ADOS Dan, how you doing? He says white people ain't gonna do nothing. I think they proved us wrong on January 6th, 2021.
Here's what you guys don't understand about white people. And I'm turning around because I'm trying to get rid of this glare. I ain't about to cook for you. Don't even think about it. But this is where I do my cooking show. I got all these. I'm not trying to get rid of these glares. Hallelujah.
It's the sunlight.
Yeah, it's too much sunlight in my house for whatever reason. So, anyway, is that better?
I mean, it was fine where you were.
Okay, I don't know. I was just trying to get rid of this glare. It was driving me crazy. So, anyways, you see my bottle. I'm drinking it. Yes, I am. I ain't gonna drink all of it, but I'm gonna save it.
But somehow most of it is already gone, though.
Well, I only filled it up a little bit. I keep it in my kitchen as a reminder of, like, in case I need to enjoy myself. It's right there. So, anyways, yeah, this is a good point. Let's start building it. It's easy, you guys. The fastest way to build wealth is to build credit. With good credit, you don't need cash. Me and D will play. I will play the bank, and she will play the person with good credit. So I'm sitting at my desk, right? And she walked in the bank, and she asked me, D needs cash. So if she needs money, what do I need to do? What do I do first in order to determine how much money I'm gonna give her?
You check my credit.
I'm gonna check your credit. So I'm gonna check your credit. Okay, you got a 780. Okay, you got a 780. Cool. What can I see your income? See, the other thing you have to do is you have to show income. You should deposit all your money in your bank statements. Like if you have a corporate account, put all your money in the corporate account, even if you pull it right back out. So when you go to get credit and they pull your bank statements, you can show receipts. You understand what I'm saying? So you need to show income. So be it tax returns, because I know a lot of people will say, oh, I don't show nothing on my tax return. I ain't paying no taxes. But then when you go get a loan, they say, well, you don't have any income because you told Uncle Sam you don't make money. So why would we loan somebody money that don't make money? So sometimes we need to pay taxes. We should always pay taxes. And you need to show income. So, all right, Ms. Coulter, so I see that you claim, okay, so you make money and you have a good credit. What is it? How much do you need?
I need $100,000.
All right, so $100,000. You know what I'm saying? Whoop-de-whoop. Over 30 years is going to be, is it for real estate, or is it you getting your hair done, or you buying a car?
Right, yes. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, I'm buying real estate.
All right. Because, Boomquisha was in here last night talking about a weave. Okay, so now you want to buy real estate, so we can loan you that over 30 years. So that's going to cost you about $400 a month. Are you in a position to pay $400 a month?
I think I can swing it, yes.
Okay, cool. So, all right, we need the address, what you're buying. Oh, so you're buying this little duplex over in the hood for 100,000. Once you fix it up, we see, okay, it's going to be worth 250, and it's going to pay you $2,000 a month in rent. So I'm running the numbers right as the banker. Okay, so you got $2,000 a month in rent, and you got a $400 payment. That leaves you $1,600 before taxes and some of the other stuff. So you probably get to keep $1,000 a month. Here is the 100,000. Nothing to do about your past, your ancestors, none of that shit that you've been through. How's your credit and your income? That is what matters. It's funny. We reminisce. We love rap music. Cream, don't like every cream moves everything around me. Don't nothing move but the money. It don't make dollars. It don't make sense. I could go on and on and on with all these rappers. But we don't take their advice. Cash moves everything around me. Cream get the money. Is that right?
Cash rules everything around me.
I kicked it with the RZA in 36 Chambers. He was like, "Do you know Old Dirty Bastard?" I said, "Man, don't let the suit fool you. I know who that is." But money moves everything. And we idolize our rappers because they're geniuses. But why don't we listen to them? Do you understand what I'm saying? So
absolutely,
that's it. The race and all that stuff. Like I look at Jay-Z. Jay-Z, in his own words, was what you would consider a criminal if he would have got caught. Right? Marcy Projects, selling drugs. He stabbed his record label executive. Jay-Z's done some wild shit. Right? Cheated on one of the baddest women in the world and wrote a record about it. And is still one of the most powerful black men in America. Do you know why that is? Is it because of his music? His music is hot. Jay-Z's music is lit. But he's got money and power. That's it. He's got money and power.
Absolutely. So let me address this pioneer. He says, Queen, what did they do on January 6th? Run up in to the Capitol and then got chased out, pepper sprays and arrested. They still being arrested. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily what they got. Ultimately, they were trying to stop the steal. There's a freaking fly in here. Obviously, they didn't stop the steal. The steal was the election being stolen from that of Donald Trump. That's what they were asserting, and Donald Trump kind of helped further that narrative. So they didn't get what they wanted ultimately, but I think what they did was send a signal to that of Congress that, hey, we are about that life and we don't have a problem fighting for whatever it is we want. So we can say whatever we want about those white folks, but at least, they were willing to, put it on the line. A couple black people here and there, whatever, but it's mostly white people that went up in there. And I will say that they had Congress shook, some of them to the point of, hiding under chairs and desks, clutching their hearts and stuff like that. But the other thing too is you say, well, what has it done? Well, to this moment, they have not. Yeah, they, had the FBI run up into Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, but he's still running free. There's 452,000 things they could arrest Trump for, but somehow they have not done it. Why do you think they haven't done it? Because they know if they do it, it's going to be hell to pay. Hell is going to break loose. So they do this, what they call is kabuki theater, put on a show for the American people. Oh, we're coming after Trump. And you don't think Trump knew that the FBI was going to roll up into his spot? Of course they knew. They also know that they got a shaky case with Trump because, as Donovan and I talked about this once before, do y'all really think that Trump picked up his boxes himself and packed them and put them into the U-Haul? Now he got movers. He can easily say, well, I told them to pack my stuff. They accidentally took the classified documents. And do you think Trump unpacked the U-Haul like he put on his overalls and went? Nah, he had somebody else do that too. So there is doubt that, I didn't know, right? Now, should he have had people in there that knew what they were doing? Yeah, probably sure. But you're not going to tell me Trump didn't already know. It's all a big show for the American people to keep on fighting back and forth. But back to your point, what did it do? It instilled fear in the people who are supposed to be holding him accountable. Trump will go to jail when, $1 million fall out the sky into each one of our laps.
Trump ain't going to jail ever. The dude has been breaking the law since he could walk. Like, damn, like Donald Trump All of his people around him have gone to jail or been indicted. I mean, I'm talking, even his own lawyer went to jail. Like, damn, how your lawyer go to jail for some shit you did? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, everybody around Trump went to jail and they out now, but they went to jail nevertheless. But Trump is still rolling around at Mar-a-Lago, with his orange self and his toupee, hitting golf balls and everything else he's doing. And so it's like, come on. At some point in time, we as humans need to wake up and say, now, come on now. They could have had Trump a long time ago if they truly wanted him. But this is for us. And don't ever forget what's at the top of all of this. That's capitalism. It's about the money. All this other stuff that we involved in, politics, racism, and all that all falls under money. Money comes first.
Right.
Well, Antoine, how you doing?
Money. Yeah, we should do a TikTok. Then we can be more free, right? And we can dance for you.
I don't know about that. TikTok, they seem like they're pretty stringent too. But you know what? I think about it. Oh yeah.
Which TikTok we talk? Shit.
I posted a video. I posted a video about a sister getting shot. I didn't show anything or anything like this. Talked about it, showed some still pictures, and they, said I violated community guidelines. I'm like, wow, all the stuff I be seeing up on TikTok. So, but I do have the ability to go live. So maybe I will try that one day, see how it goes.
Yeah, we should do a TikTok. So at the end of the day, money is the master. Right? But the cool thing about money is you can master money. That's it. And that January 6th thing shook them so bad. They were not ready. And it's just letting them know what to be prepared for. I guarantee you, there are a lot of people that will do things differently. And here's the other thing. They will hesitate going after Trump willy-nilly after January 6th. I guarantee you. When Martin Luther King, when they got off those buses and started walking, those bus companies were like, whoa, we need this money. That's it. And listen, Jay-Z, Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson all had, and even Bill Cosby, he's still alive, right? He still has power. If Bill Cosby was poor, he would be in jail. Do you know how much money it takes to find the discovery he found to get out of jail? Do you know what it takes to catch the prosecution in a lie, to be able to dig that deep, that far back, and find the one thing they did to get out of jail? That's power. Michael Jackson had power, but I know he had Michael, the greatest entertainer ever lived. Like, you can't watch a Michael Jackson special and not just get emotional. But, Michael Jackson, he got hurt, burns, the pains. We started taking painkillers and all that stuff. And Michael Jackson, at the end, in my opinion, that was a lot on him because he escaped. Like, think about this. All those kids saying he molested him, touched. Can you imagine if Michael was broke?
Oh, he'd be gone.
He'd be gone in jail. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, Jay-Z has power. I guarantee you, Jay-Z got a speeding ticket. His ass is not going to court. I guarantee you, if Jay-Z was in anything questionable where he could get off, if there was a reasonable doubt, no pun intended, he would be off. Don't him and R. Kelly have a record like that?
Yeah, but they don't talk about that much.
Yeah, Jay-Z does shit he should be in jail for, and he says it himself. If he wouldn't have been in London working on his music when they raided the projects, he'd be in jail.
Michael wants to know, and I want to know too, why you smoking?
So let me tell you why I'm smoking this cigar. Number one, and I can just answer this question for you, my kids. But first of all, I smoke like a cigar once a week. Matter of fact, here, two, cigars don't have the chemicals in them. A cigar is a natural plant. Matter of fact, I've rolled my own cigars, and it's all natural, and you don't inhale cigars. So, but I hear you. I'm enjoying my life a little bit, and I have prostate cancer, not lung cancer, right? And I've checked with all sources. This does not affect my prostate. I hope that answered your question. Let me
I
ask,
mean,
let me answer your question. The answer is no. Next subject.
Antoine, I you know what? I cannot wait to get on to TikTok. I've never gone on their live, so it'll definitely will be an experience for me. I think you got to do it by your phone, right? Can't do it by computer. So yeah, I was gonna say I'll try anything once, but that's not true. But I will try going live on TikTok to see how that goes.
I
I
think it would be
wonder.
cool. I think it'd be good to watch, because then that would give us more avenues. I see somebody saying something about empty shelves. That's on route trackers. That's true. The shelves are emptying. Like going to some of the stores, like I was in Target last night, and a lot of the shelves were empty. This is in Target.
Yeah, I've seen them too. Sprouts, because that's typically where I shop is Sprouts. Whole Foods, I only go into Whole Foods for a couple of things, so I can't really say what they got going on. Um, the couple times that I've gone in Walmart, yeah, I've seen the shelves empty.
Yeah.
Trader Joe's as well. But this is in my assessment. This is how I see that it's working. So you'll see the places like Walmart and like your Kroger's and things like that start to empty out a little bit sooner because that's where people's affordability is, right? Because I've noticed that, like I've gone to Walmart and places like that. I'm like, man, where are all the vegetables and stuff? So I have to have gone, go to Sprouts and stuff like that. They have, a plenty stuff a couple of months ago. But now you're starting to see things thin out there because people are like, okay, well, they don't have what I'm looking for at Walmart or Kroger's. So let me go to a Sprouts or a Whole Foods or something like that. So you're starting to see everything start to thin out a little bit. So to your point, are you growing your own food? Somebody came on here on Sunday and they talked about the people in Dallas, I guess it was, that where they had all that flooding and a lot of people lost their gardens and stuff. So it's like in that case, when you live in horrible places, or I don't say horrible places, but places where it floods horribly and things like that, what do, right?
Rooftop garden. That's why you need you a flat roof. So in Joshua Tree, we're building our 5 acres. We're building a flat house, and one thing that I think about is putting a garden on the roof. Because you don't think like would you think that it floods in Pakistan? But
Oh yeah, they going through it in Pakistan and NIS. How you doing? If I didn't already, I don't even know what fan base is, but I guess I would have to look into it. I'm old school. Just YouTube, Facebook. I haven't even gone live on Instagram. I usually kind of use Instagram for kind of just like, hey, how you doing stuff, fitness stuff. But I can entertain doing that, but I have to look into fan base. But to your point about Pakistan, yeah, they said that they have lost 33. There's 33 million people who are homeless. Over 1,000, as I read yesterday, people have died, and they say that it's going to get worse during the all the way through the end of the monsoon season. This is the worst that they've seen it. What else? They're like into like the 10 to 20 billion dollars worth of damage and growing, and so yeah, we're going to start to see stuff like that everywhere. But are we prepared? And like I said to you, Walter, in California, y'all supposed to be getting a big giant flood too. They said the last time California flooded out like that was 150 years ago, and so it said it is due for California to experience a giant flood. Says that is unavoidable, but there are ways that I guess you can minimize. We can minimize the impact, and that's by lessening our carbon footprint all over the world to help with global warming or whatever. I'm like, yeah, y'all screwed. People aren't going to reduce their carbon footprint.
I mean, yeah, we're a long ways away from that, and green energy and all that stuff is obviously the way to go. I mean, we can't really control that as individuals, but we can be prepared for it. One thing that I do when I go to the store is I buy tuna. I go into the store and I buy a stack of tuna when I go and I store it in my garage. And I put water in my garage. And I don't eat. You rarely see me eat noodles in a box. I don't like stuff in a box. But when I go to the grocery store, I buy it in case stuff go down. And so it's little. It's 10, 15 bucks every time you go to the store. I'm going to buy tuna. I'm going to buy noodles. I'm going to buy water. Or you buy things that will last forever. Stuff in a can, which you really shouldn't eat a lot of. But, if you go buy olives in a jar, they will last forever until you open a jar. Maybe not forever. Don't quote me, but you understand what I'm saying. So
And Thunder and Damon, you say also a Dollar General in Little Rock, California, shelves blown out. Get your prep on Black First Family. Yes, yes, indeed. That's why I said that the stores where it's a little bit more affordable, you're seeing people go there first because people's money is not what it was, a couple of months ago. So, we are going to these other stores, but now people are like, oh, I'm gonna have to go to high ass Sprouts. And the crazy part about Sprouts, because that's where I go, I see a lot of the vegetables are kind of rotten. It's like, why don't y'all just lower the prices on these high ass vegetables and fruits so people can buy them? Because I'm not gonna go in there and buy, wilted vegetables and soft, fruit and that type of thing. But to me, it's just stupid. Just drop the price so people can buy it. But Thunder, you say I have family laughing at me because I'm canning, but some have asked on the slide if they can camp out if it gets bad. Like, what the hell? Yeah, you're like, nah, y'all gonna have to get it like I'm getting it, right? Get it like live it. But I tell you one thing about my daughter, she's very resourceful. And this, I almost call it a heifer, but I think that's pretty safe to say heifer, is pickling everything. When I say pickling, we'll pickle some apples. Oh, it was so good. She pickled up some apples and we put it on some toast with some peanut butter. It was the bomb. She pickles onions and a whole bunch of things. I'm like, well, hell, you might as well just pickle everything just in case it goes down. At least we'll have some, healthy probiotics in our system or whatever. But yeah, we got to get resourceful and figure out how to make it do what it do when it goes down. Because it's not an if, it's a when. And so, Michael, you say, Demetra, I hear you that some rich people are not great, but I understand that some are good rich people. However, a majority of them don't care about poverty due to unlimited privileges, etc. No, I'm not saying that all rich people are bad. I mean, there's some people who are just horrible people, rich and poor, but that's the perception that everyone else gets. All rich people, they're just horrible people. But I'm just like this. If I had as much money as some of these people had, I would do more with the community and helping people, because you're not going to be able to take all that money with you. And yeah, I understand leaving generational wealth, but I'm just one of those people. I wouldn't feel right having all that money and watching suffering go on around me. And as I drive by in my Bentley, whatever the case is, I would feel compelled to do stuff. I mean, and I know we're not supposed to talk about what we do for people who are less fortunate, but I'm one of those people. If I see somebody hungry, like one day, I was walking into Subway and there was a brother that was sitting there and, he asked me if I had anything. I said, I never carry cash, so I don't have anything. I said, but you are more than welcome to come in this store and get whatever you want. I said, get whatever you want. And he did. He got whatever he wanted. I didn't say, nah, you can't get that. No, get a 6-inch. Get whatever you want. You want some cookies? Make sure you get something to drink. Because I often think of myself, if God forbid that was me, I would want somebody, to say, hey, you know what? I don't have the money, but you come on in here and get you something to eat. Nor did I want to go in there and bring him out what I thought he wanted to eat. I let him come in there and get whatever you wanted. And he was blown away by that. But I'm like, nah, because I just can't stand to see and understand that, somebody is, bad off. I know somebody said, well, he needs to be doing this, that, and the other. That's easier to say, but it's hard to say to people who are hungry at that moment. Well, you need to go get a job. You need to go do that. Because there's a lot of people with money who have that attitude. Not me. I'm like, if I got it, you going to get it. If I'm going there and get something to eat, I'm not going to walk past you with food. We both walking out of here with some food. So that's just me.
And that is, speaking of why we started this conversation, I'm going to address the conversation on the bottom about this being a dumb debate. One, it's never a dumb debate to talk about money. Number one, Black people, we have a Black man that has done well with his money, that is on his way to $1 billion and is in the news, not for fighting with Kobe or his ex-wife or none of that drama, but for leaving a legacy to his children. Can you imagine if every time a Black man popped up in the news and the debate was, how should he leave a legacy to his kids? Can you imagine what would happen to our race if the true leaders, which is the Black man of our race, said, here's what I'm doing to take care of my family tree? There's never a dumb debate talking about money. There's never a dumb debate talking about money. And it's good to talk about it. In my opinion, like I said, I think Shaq, it's his money. He can do what he wants with it. Making his kids get 2 degrees is going to force them to sit down and focus. Even if they don't use the degrees, it will force them to focus on something. And sometimes focusing will help you get going in the right direction. You know what's a dumb debate? Is Christina Aguilera singing Whitney Houston song. That's a dumb debate.
I want not to cut you off. Thunder, you're asking for the recipe for the pickled apples. How did you do that? I was telling them that you pickle everything. I'm scared she's gonna pickle me. Well, how do you do it?
Really, Mom?
Yes.
You put a cup of vinegar, a cup of water, a half cup of white sugar, a half cup of brown sugar, pickling seasoning, and some ginger.
Okay, do me a favor, because that was a lot. Can you get into this comment section on YouTube and put that in there for my dear friend Thunder and anybody else who wants to learn how to pickle stuff? Thank you. So she's gonna get in there and put it in the comment section for you. And hello, Brother Samuel. How are you doing this fine evening? And Michael, you said, I thought your daughter lives on her own in Texas. I mean, you know, she lives with me. We live together. It's just us, you know, so no need for her to have her own spot at this moment. We're practicing group economics and all of that. So, yeah, you know, neither one of us really know anybody out here. So, yeah, it's better that way. But my daughter is a fully grown woman who earns her own living and, you know, takes care of herself and all of that. So, and then Roots Tracker, he says, get garden lights in areas with bad weather and plant. I trade seeds all over. Yes, indeed. And so I'm not in the process of planting just yet because I would like to own the house that I'm going to plant. And I know there's different things you could do. But in the process, when I say we, my daughter and I, we do save up our food, you know, like we got a lot of rice and, you know, dried beans, canned beans. We do the organic. I'm like Walter. I don't like to eat out of a lot of boxes and cans. I have gone back. Hey, Vaughn, how you doing, boo? My daughter and I have gone back to being vegan. I don't know if y'all can see that I'm starting to slim up a little bit in my face, not trying to lose too much weight. But yeah, I don't do a lot of processed foods as well. So, but we do try to figure out ways of eating, you know, when this goes down, because I know I don't want to eat beans and rice forever, but I will if I have to. So yes, indeed. And let's see who else. So you address, and Marcus Owens, how are you doing, by the way? And Michael says, Demetri, I understand why you call your friends and other brothers and sisters due to the transatlantic slave trade. So you say you understand why I call them brothers and sisters? Yeah, well, you know, we're all related some way, shape, or form, right? Our first person on the planet was a Black woman, so we all come from her. Thunder says that she make preserves a conserve, so she gonna get in here on one of her aliases, I'm sure, and I'll put the recipe. I'm not a recipe person at all. I just throw stuff together, but she's the recipe, you know, guru, not me. I guess I could figure it out if I had to. And you also say, wait, let me get my pen. So yeah, she's gonna put it in there. And Donovan, how you doing? It says 106 degrees and climbing here. Yeah, it's like in the 80s here, which is kind of, I'm glad, but you know, it's also going to be thundering and lightning pretty soon.
Yeah, jeez, it is hot.
And I didn't already. Maxwell, how you doing? I see you commenting, you and Michael going back and forth, but I wanted to say hello to you. So yeah, so what else y'all want to talk about? You know, we got, time is going by really slow for some reason, but I would just say we are seeing things manifest that some would say that has been prophesied, whether it's through the Bible or, you know, scientists or whatever. We're seeing those things unfold before our very eyes. Like I had my dad call me a couple times last week. Do I need to come get my boat and rescue you? Because he's thinking that I'm stuck in a flood. But actually, you know, it was Dallas where they said, I think it was like, I don't know, 60 people or so died or whatever in Dallas, in that area, due to the flooding, and a lot of property and things lost. So we're seeing a lot of natural disasters take place. But if you believe in God, and as Minister Louis Farrakhan has been saying for a long time, watch the weather. He ain't been wrong yet, you know. So, but since we are in the midst of all of this, what are we doing as Black people to prepare? Because listen, if Katrina hasn't taught us anything, I don't know what will. Now, of course, I know they say the levees were blown, and I tend to believe that was the case. If you guys haven't seen Spike Lee's documentary When the Levees Broke or something like that, he, talks about it in great detail that more than likely it was destroyed. However, we always bear the biggest brunt of these natural disasters. We stuck into the Astrodome and all of that, no places to go. People stuck on their rooftops for days and wading in dirty water and stuff. So it's like, at some point in time, we're going to have to start taking directions and listening to people when they are sounding the alarm that, we need to prepare. And Thunder, to your point, you got people talking about, well, can I come kick it with you? It's like, nah, because I'm telling you what to do. You won't do it. And you want to come and partake of my ration?
Hell no. Hell. Yeah. And you guys, another thing too, and I'm just going to call him the man. I'm been watching Undercover Brother. Is the man will sacrifice his poor and his weak to get his point across. Because my first thought, well, there was a lot of white people in Louisiana that got flooded out too. But you know who got flooded out? Was the poor and what the man would consider weak. Because wasn't there a warning? Like, was it like, so if a natural disaster is coming in California, and our natural disasters, we have like fires. And they'll say if there's a fire, you need to evacuate. In flood territories, they'll say, hey, it's raining, you guys need to leave. Or if there's tornadoes, they'll say it's tornado season, you guys, or tornadoes are approaching, you need to leave. And who stays? The poor. I'm going to go to the roof and I'm going to wait it out. What you're saying is, I don't have the money and resources to get my black ass out of here. So I think, because how many people of financial well-being died were wading in dirty water during Katrina?
Yeah, and they talk about that too. A lot of people got infections and things like that because the water was not clean and just like the worst, right? And then obviously, if again, Katrina didn't prove to you that the government really don't care about you. I mean, they called them refugees, for God's sake. Like, how the hell are you a refugee in your own country? And it took them 5 days or so for them to say, oh, I think we better go help them, So it's like, at that point, if that didn't prove to us we need to be able to save ourselves, I don't know what else to tell us, And yeah, you're not going to be perfect, but at least don't have your, stuff out there in the wind talking about, I don't know what I'm going to do. I need somebody to help me. And Walter, Pamela says, Sister Demetra, can you ask Walter about what he thinks on banks and the changes?
Well, what changes are you talking about? Because there's a lot going on with the banks. But what particular changes are you talking about? And we can, you can add that in the comments. So I can come back around that. But things are starting to happen. It's becoming harder to get to your money. Number one, and every time a change happens that will help people that need it the most, they come out like, look at your boy Joe Biden, Venmo, Cash App. Those instruments are really help people that are struggling, because I can Zelle you, Cash App you $100. Matter of fact, you guys can Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, Coulter, DK right now. You can do those things, but what did they do? They clamped down on that. So the banks are starting to say, okay, we have all this competition with crypto and Venmo and all these things. So now they're starting to make it harder for people to move money. And it's going to get like, remember when you used to be able to write a check and you had a couple days? Like, remember that? Now it's like, man, if you write somebody a check, or whatever, if you pay a bill online, that money is coming out of your account before you can count to two. So those are a lot of the changes I'm seeing. I don't know the other changes that you're talking about. If you can put them in the comment, then I can address the question specifically. What's this question? Oh, the apple vinegar. Yeah.
Yes, she's actually, you guys, if you're interested, 10 Summers.
Who's 10 Summers?
That's Deanna. She's putting the instructions and stuff in the comment section. So if y'all want to write them down, But yeah, and it's like fabulous. I'm like, I never thought like pickled onions or apples and whatever else she got going on would be good, but it's really good. It takes your food to the next level, and it's on the healthier side because it does introduce some, form of healthy probiotics in to your system. They help your digestive system. So we eat pickled stuff all the time.
Yeah, and if you're gonna eat sugar, do it this way. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, something that I think we're not the greatest at, is pushing our elders to get their shit together. Here's what I mean by this. When I'm out with and I cannot believe in 22, we're still talking about this shit. It blows me away. When I'm out with my buddies, and like one of my white boys, man, his mom left him a house, cold cash, 300 grand. And he's just like, Walter, what do we do with it? I was like, give it to me. And I hear him, he's my boy. He talks about his mom and kind of the rough shit they went through. And they went through some shit. His childhood wasn't the greatest, but she bought a house and she made her mortgage payment. And when she died, he got the crib, period. The point I'm making is we can force our elders to say, you are the tree. You are the trunk of the tree. I am a leaf, so it is your job to take care of us. So for my 6 kids and my 4 grandkids, I am the trunk of this tree. That means I have my life insurance. I save money. I buy real estate. I stack my shit. I keep food. If shit gets rough, they come over here and we eat and weather this shit out. Stop. Like, we're talking about Shaquille and his kids. What we should add to the conversation, and maybe another day, is adding our parents to the conversation and our aunts and uncles. What is that?
I was responding to Pam. I have it over here, and I'm going to watch it as I lie down tonight because I see that there's some videos and stuff on it. So I am going to check it. I promise you that. And let's see here. Something you say, yes. Thank you, DK. Do you have to peel them? The apples? No, she didn't peel. Obviously, you wash them, but the onions, yeah, you take the she just slices them, and like the sliced onions, not diced, but just slice them. So you have ribbons of onions, and she puts them in the concoction, if you will, and we put it on everything. But let's see here, and Maxwell, you also say you pickle also. Don't forget the pectin. So you're talking about peaches. I think she was talking about pickling. Is it peaches that you're talking about? Or because I know apple has pectin. So what exactly are you talking about? But I mean, you can pretty much pickle anything, which I think is amazing. It's inexpensive too.
Yeah, and don't forget the fee for 10 summers, right? She'll get the donation to do her mother's Cash App or Venmo. So
and Michael, yeah, she probably could cook Nigerian food, but she hasn't. But she reads recipes and she looks for different things. So I'm sure it'd be not a problem for her at all to do it.
Yeah, and that'll give her something to do. Deanna's very talented, so that would be fun to watch. Is what's that you'll never hear in Texas? That hurricane came out of nowhere. That hurricane just snuck up on us. Oh, that is true, man. In Texas, it's funny. It starts in the Gulf of Mexico, and it for days. Like when I was in Texas, in the news, they're like the hurricane is coming. It's in the Gulf of Mexico. Now it's coming up. It's coming through Cuba. You get the warning for days of a hurricane. In California, shit just starts shaking. You be sitting here and that's it. It's a wrap. Oh, not a wrap because we ain't gonna die. But in Texas, you have warnings. Right when last time I was in Texas, in Houston, at my house, and I see the skies getting dark, and I told my girl it might be time to go. You know what I'm saying? We got the car outside. I know we rented it, but they get it back eventually. Matter of fact, if we don't take it, it's gonna flood.
Yeah, and then you do get warning. You see this comment down here is funny. You do get a warning, and like I said, my daughter and I will go into my closet in my room because it's kind of my closet happens to be in the bathroom, so it's kind of mixed in with everything. But I'm like, California would never. I would never be in a hide
Yeah.
in the closet in California. I mean, we've been in there, over an hour one time because we watch our phone. It says, oh, it's going to be passing in 15 minutes. And then, because what you're hiding in the closet from is a tornado might come through and, wipe you out because they say it's in, your county. Then they're like, okay, we got like 2 more minutes. And then they'll extend it. Oh, it's been extended 15 more minutes. I'm like, come on. This is crazy.
Yeah. So, I am Nigerian, believe it or not. And most of us are. I am Nigerian. My 23andMe says I'm Nigerian. I'm like, it's crazy. There's like I'm from two countries, Nigeria and I think Liberia or something like that is the other one. There was a little Japanese and Asian. I don't know where in the hell that came from, but but it's funny when you hear about Nigerians hustle. Most people think of the Nigerian switches and the crazy stuff, but man, Africans, we are the true hustlers of the planet. You think about it, for Africans to end up in South America, in China, in Italy, everywhere in the world. Like when I go to Italy, I see Africans on the wall. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're going to Spain next week for a couple weeks. And I know when I get to Spain, I'm going to see black people on the walls. I think up until Queen Isabel, the Moors ran Spain. Those are African. Man, come on, y'all. You ever hear Moor Gators? Let's talk about the Moors, the best shoes. Like, so black people, Africans, we've always been hustlers. And I don't mean like hustle in the streets. I mean like hustle, go after it, go get it. I just think the one thing as Africans, we were probably just too peaceful. And we can learn a lot from the man. Peace is cool when you got a gun in your hip. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee you Donald Trump has plenty of peace. Kanye has the second most security after the White House. You approach Kanye's house and see what kind of peace you get dealt with. So you got to have. Let me back up. I was talking about our ancestors or our relatives. We need to stick the conversation to them. Period. You, my uncle. How much money do you have to protect the family? You understand what I'm saying? And here's the thing, you guys. I don't care how poor you are at this moment. You can be broke as a joke. You could have a pot and not the piss to put in it. And you could be 50 years old. If you can go to Starbucks or Papa Do's and you could save $300 a month, and just even if you threw it in the stock market, which I wouldn't recommend you do all with your money, even if you did that from 50 to 80 and you got a 12% rate of return on $300, you would be a millionaire. 300 over 30 years at 12% is $1,050,000. $1,050,000. Period. That's it. So us as black people not leaving wealth to our kids, like what Shaq is talking about, is disgraceful. Because even if you were 60 and you started with no money, in 20 years, you could build and change your family tree. Give them money and instructions and give them experience. One thing I haven't been to Nigeria yet, but it's on my bucket list among with 50,000 other countries. But one thing I did get from my father, not one thing, but a bunch of stuff, is the experience. Man, I'm telling you, there's nothing you could do. Experience is the best teacher. Period. You can't you can't beat experience. And I think that's what we need to teach our kids. And we need to make them do shit. So my kids, matter of fact, when I'm done with this, I'm sending them a group text. Hey, where are we going next month for our retreats? But this time, I just step it up a little bit further. Like this last week, and I was like, you guys, we're going to buy real estate together. Everybody pitch in, and we're buying real estate. And I don't want to hear it. Like if we can't, as individuals, each put in $500 a month to buy $1 million property on the lake and rent it out for $10,000, $15,000 a month. Or it don't have to be $1 million. The house we stayed in just happened to be this giant house on the lake. But I was like, can we not buy a piece of property and put put something on it, and we own it. Between the 7 of us, we own this property. Worst come to worst, we have somewhere to go. See, that's what Black people suffer from, is we don't have anywhere to go. You know what I'm saying? My mama leave me a house and it's paid off, or she left me the resources to continue it along with my hustle and my will and effort, then I don't worry about it. And that's what we need to be preaching to our people. Not that Jesus is coming to give you cash. Maybe he's coming, but he's not bringing buckets of money. And it's funny, matter of fact, this lady gave me, I was eating, and she gave me this book on religion. And it was the end of the world, times of revelations. I got the book still in here. I'm like, I was reading it, and I was like, God damn, the world's coming to an end. So that stuff drives me crazy. What if we just focused on the money? I don't care if you're Muslim, Christian, it don't matter to me.
So you said after you read the book, you thought the world was coming to an end?
No, it just brought fear back into my world. Like, I'm sitting there, where in the hell were we at? Oh my God, where? I'm trying to think of where we were. It was me and all the kids. I can't remember where we were. We were sitting down. Oh, no. We were sitting down somewhere, me and the kids. And this lady walked up and was like, hey, Jesus loves you. She handed me a pamphlet. And everyone else just kind of looked at her funny. And I took it and said, thank you. I appreciate, the effort that you're putting into spreading the word. Then when I opened the damn thing, it was just at the end of the world prophecy, when a bunch of white dudes blowing horns and fire and brimstone in the air. I'm like, well, shit, I don't want to study this. Like that was just insane to me. So I had to divert back to keeping the main thing. The main thing is the cash. Money, I tell you this. One of my boys, Rick Horn, smart dude, he just started a church. And he's balling out. He's got businesses, and he just started a church. So when I hear him on YouTube and on social media, he's talking like wealth and building and like you shall have. That's the stuff I want to hear. Like, go get the money. Praise God, hallelujah. Get the cash. Get the cash and then give us 10%. And then put the other 90% to work. That's it. All this. People say to me, oh, like one of my good friends was like, Walter, you got to keep God first. I said, first of all, God built this universe for us to do well in. You're not going to sit here and take away from my blessing and what I'm putting together and then hit me in the face because, oh, you got to put God first. God don't need me to put him first. He is first. He already has everything. The fact that we're not using what he gave us is absolute madness. Religious people are some of the brokest people in the world because you got to pray on shit first. And don't get me started on this subject. Man, my hate mailbox will be full. I tell you, if I want to see a bunch of broke people, I roll past a Baptist church and look at the shit they pull up in, all their money on their clothes, and they pull up to a chicken restaurant at 400 million cholesterol. And they're in the worst health. And praise Jesus. What you need to do is go to the bank. Maybe Sunday mornings you ought to go to the bank and check your balance and then go to church and go, okay, am I really using what God gave me? Yeah, miss me with the religious shit.
You know what? It's not funny, but I remember a couple times people got their cars repossessed about the church parking lot on a Sunday morning. I'm like, damn, they don't have no... We know that I ain't gonna say who it is, but
no, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, she came up by the church. They thought her car was stolen, but it was repossessed, and it's like, damn, they did that on a Sunday morning, and everybody up in there praising the Lord. Like, where was the Lord? Let this go down. But when people were looking for the car, like, oh my God, they stole the car. Turns out the car was repossessed. So I thought about that when you said, the Baptist church. That's where, some of the brokest people are. And I would venture to say that is probably true in our community. The church, there is a lot of people who are poor. Doesn't have to be that way because to your point, and how you doing, one who cares? Well, yeah, we are putting the Lord first. You should put the Lord first. But like you said, he doesn't necessarily need us to do that. We should, pay reverence to the Lord every day. But he is already first. But a lot of times we use that as an excuse not to grow in. to your point, no shade to anybody in the church, but if you're putting the church first, which the Bible says that is out of order, you're supposed to put your home first. You're doing that to the detriment of your home. Then to me, that's a sin, right? You're making sure the church lights are on, but you're going home to candles, and talking about what we gonna eat because you put the church first, and that's backwards. And so, yeah, I just thought that was fun. Not funny, because I'm sure it sucked that her car was repossessed, but damn.
Yeah, I saw a picture of Denzel Washington with a pastor from Riverside. He was in a photo with a bunch of pastors, and one I recognized because he teaches a church. He, whatever it is, leads the church here. And I just remember going, damn, like, and Denzel's the man. I know he's very spiritual, but I'm like, how many people in his church would get to kick it with Denzel? And how is that benefiting the Black community that them and Denzel are kicking it? And so I think sometimes when these religious figures, they get going and they almost forget like what they're doing. I remember my boy saying he gave his rent money in the church bucket. And I was like, you a damn fool to put your family at risk, to put your rent in the bucket. So nigga, you got the rent and you put it in the bucket so you can get the rent back? Like, come on, man. Like, man.
Yeah, he was going to get it back tenfold. It was like, yeah, I wonder how that conversation went down at the house when your wife found out that you put the rent money. It's like, at some point in time, you would think the church would be like, well, that's very admirable. You expect you doing that, boy. We ain't got a benevolent fund like that up at the church. So, don't give us your rent money. Y'all know, if everybody's been to church when they pass the bucket and you just kind of like, you tap the bucket.
Man, religious people, when I say religious people, I don't mean people that follow God. You should follow God and respect the Creator. But to the point where you just like, I hear people say, well, I'm going to give it to God. Well, that's some dumb shit. Don't give to God what he gave to you. Like, God already gave it to you. Why are you giving it back? I know people say, I'm going to let God deal with it. No, God has already given it to you. He told me you got the resources to go do something, but you want to go turn right back around and ask the dude that gave it to you in the first place if you could have it. I want to start my own church. Like, really, church or the hell to the no. Like, I need y'all money. I do, but don't give me your rent money. Man, don't give me your car payment because you ain't borrowing my car. Like, man, it blows me away. And man, anyways, we were talking about Shaq. I love Shaquille O'Neal. As I love, because he's still grimy. He still will get down like with EYL, like Earn Your Leisure. He'll still get down and just be Shaq. But he still is like, I own a part of, I'm involved in Papa John's. I invested in Google, which I've never heard Shaq talk about. Like, the dude invested in Google when they were nobody. He's like, oh yeah, the white boys told me to invest in Google. I was like, what's that? He's like, don't worry about it. It's going to be good. Like, Shaq, this dude is on. So I don't know how he has time to do all those commercials. When does he find the time? But this dude he is talking about legacy building for his kids. And that is admirable. I love, man, if Black men, if we can get off this Jimmy Crack corn and I don't care shit, and we could just talk about, like, me and my kids, I'm like, it's the money. I don't care nothing else. I want us to have our money straight. Because if I have a stroke and my living benefits kick in, I need y'all to make sure everything is paid. We still invest. Make sure the ladies show up on time in the hills and the masseuses, everybody show up on time. I need y'all to be able to run a schedule too. Right? Like, and all that is just money. You give your life insurance company $300 a month. You know what I'm saying? Or you give them $568 a month. At my age, they'll give you a $300,000 policy with cash value, and that money's tied up in the stock market in a universal index, universal life. It will never lose money in value, so it will only grow. You put in $568, they take out their fees, they put the rest in the stock market with a cap of 12% and a bottom of zero, so you'll never lose. And you do that, and you do that, and you do that. and something comes up and you go, oh, I got $20,000. I can borrow from that. And then you take you another $75 a month and you get you $1 million policy, and you have that. You have living benefits. So if you have a stroke, they'll cut you a check. Instead of sitting here like this, you can sit there like this with somebody rubbing your back and making you food and moving the TV and hitting the Netflix channel, making sure you're having a good life. It's for $75 and some instructions. So for $500, $600, you got your cash value. And for the 75, you're protecting your livelihood and you're protecting your life. That's it. You understand what I'm saying? And then you start building the wealth and you build your credit. You guys, credit is, Black people, we are so resourceful and so creative. Let's, like my sister, yeah, permanent policy. Me and my sister, my D's coming around now. D's turned into a financial gangster, right? My sister, I always tell her, you got good credit. And she's coming around, but my sister's not as risky as I am because I'm learning shit. And I'm like, oh, we can do that? We can do that? Like, hell no, we can't do that. Like, man, I tell this story 1,000 times and I'll say it to the day I'm dead, is I took my Black ass into Navy Federal and they said, Mr. Coulter, what do you need? I said, I need to borrow $20,000 for this car. And they were like, well, where's the car? I said, I haven't, they waiting on the money. Now, I didn't have the car in my possession. I hadn't paid for it. They cut me a check based on my credit. Didn't ask me for no paperwork, just my credit and the income I told them I made. They cut me a check. Do you know they still don't have the pink slip for that car? And then they told me, matter of fact, I got a letter from them yesterday that says, if you don't turn in the title in 90 days, we're going to convert your $20,000 loan from 7% to 19%. So I'm doing the math. I'm thinking, that 20,000 is now 37. If I give them 20% a year on 20, that's only $4,000 a year. I didn't already make 17,000. So would it make sense to pay 20% interest? Give them their 4,000 up front. I'm 1,300. I'm 13,000 to the positive, and I'm only 3 weeks into the deal. I still have 49 more weeks to flip that 20 grand, and everything I make is mine because I already gave them their 4,000. This is how big dogs, the people in Wall Street behind closed doors, this is how they think. I don't need a penny. I just need credit. They gave me the money for the registration, everything. And they said, oh, well, who's the seller? I was like, my girlfriend, she's the seller. And they cut her a check and me a check. And then I went to her right away. Okay, that's my money. But our relationship is cool, so she cut me a check. But, and it's legal 100%. You guys, some of you guys sitting out there with a 750, 680. So you guys could do this. And Navy Federal is to the east. Navy Federal is that way toward Texas. Matter of fact, Houston has Navy Federal all over the place. You can do that with your cars. I did that with my Range Rover. I mean, you can do that, and they'll give you up to 2 or 3 car loans. So if you needed $50,000, $60,000 tomorrow, you could go to your credit union if you got good credit and say, I'm buying these 2 cars, and they will cut you a check for 50, 60 grand. And you can take that shit and start your life over. And if you mess it up and something go wrong, they just have to come after the cars. But you have the cash and you have the ability to move. What do you think Donald Trump has done? Oh, he's filed bankruptcy so many times. So in the hell what? He's a smart dude. Because if I start a business in the name of Asset Cigar Company and that cigar company goes out of business, but I've pulled money out and paid myself and built my personal wealth, and the asset company goes out of business, what happens to my personal wealth? It stays. Except now I put that wealth in another company, so that's protected. You guys, I'm telling you how to build wealth and to build yourself to be free. And then you have the conversation with your kids. Like me and my son, Evan, he's my youngest son. And like, matter of fact, he said he's going to be watching the show. And I was like, dude, when we hang up, I'm going to call you. And we're going to talk about what to do with your 700 credit score. You're 19. You have a 700 plus FICO score. We can give you an income stream. You're a young, good looking kid. You have no kids, no baby mamas, none of that shit. You have no debt, dude, and you have a father that has your back and is your safety net. Do you know what you could do on this planet if you remove the fear? And a lot of you guys have, your kids are in the same spot. Deanna's in the same spot. Deanna's sitting there in the house, bored. How's the song go? Bored in the house, bored. She, you know what I'm saying? Like, she has money, power. She walk in the room, and if the utilities company's doing their job, the lights come on and the water run. Do you realize in some countries, some countries, they don't even have running water? In Mexico, you can't drink the water in Tijuana. From a faucet, you will get Montezuma's revenge.
I learned that the hard way one time. Yes, for that like 2 or 3 weeks, I had Montezuma's revenge. Never again.
It's horrible, right? And Damon, you're right. It's the poor man's LLC. I've heard rich people over and over say, I don't have money in my name. Kiyosaki, Donald Trump, they will consistently talk about how they don't have shit. They ain't got it. But their companies got it. And you guys, and if you don't have a good credit score, in 6 to 12 months, you can build it. You could be the brokest dude in YouTube or on this podcast, and in 6 to 12 months, you could have a credit score and you have an income that you claim. You can walk into your credit union and say, I need you to cut me a check for $20,000. That's it. You guys, there's the answer. All your problems are solved. Boom, shakalaka. It's a wrap. Your ass is free. I feel like Steve Harvey. Your ass is free. Like, you're free. Right? It's funny that Steve Harvey's so religious, but he'd be cussing your ass out and praising the Lord at the same time. They'll have Steve Harvey at a church cussing their ass out. But you are free. Nothing else matters. No matter how much money you have, if you have good credit, you can go out. They call credit phantom money because you don't see the money. They just wire you, look in your bank account, and you have money. Like the SBA PPP, they were giving people $50,000, $100,000. My God. Like all the, so, but it all is based on having a good credit score, which you could build. And what you do is if you have credit cards, don't be late because you're going to fuck your kids' credit up, is you put your kids on your credit cards. My son, Evan, doesn't have a 750 FICO score because he was in 8th grade. But you put your kids on your credit, make sure the credit stays positive, and then you build their score, and then you get them some of their own cards. And then when they get 18, 19, and they go into a bank because they have an income stream, because you put them on an income stream, you pay them or do whatever, make sure your kids have an income stream. Then your kids go and you guys go buy a piece of real estate. You get you a duplex or a fourplex. You live in one and you rent out the other 3, or you live in the other one. And then what you do is you buy the shittiest duplex you could find, or for the more units, the better, because the price per unit tends to go down the bigger the complex, right? So if you buy, and it's easier to buy 6 units than it is to buy 4, because you can use the income stream from that multi-unit to qualify. They'll take the part of the income stream and put it on your income and use that to help you qualify. Buy the crappiest place you can find that has potential. Then what you do is you fix it up. You pay $200, you fix it up, and now it's worth $500,000, and you refinance that shit, and you got $300,000 in your pocket. And now you take the difference and you buy building number 2, and now you got 2 buildings, and now you and your kids can breathe easy. It's that simple, you guys. It's what me and my kids are doing right now. It's what we talk about. We're buying real estate, and we're going to buy units, and we're going to be able to travel with the family and let the renters pay for not pay because we're giving them a place to live. It's that easy. You can do that in 12 months. You can build your credit, you and your kids. Right? Yeah, don't rent to your friends. Don't rent to your family. That's a fight waiting to happen. Right? So Magic Johnson, we were doing some internet thing, me and Jay Pinsky's, his son, and Jay Pinsky, Roger Pinsky's son, and it was me, him, Magic, and it was just amazing to be in the room with these dudes. And Magic goes, there's 2 people I don't deal with financially, friends and family. He goes, I just give them the money. Because when they don't pay me back, I'm not tripping. I don't be looking at Uncle Pookie over there like, oh, he owe me cash. No. So don't deal with them. and family members, and I'm not going to dig too deep into my personal situation, but sometimes you guys and family members, you have to draw a line. I have a shirt on my clothing line, Verbal Herb. You can go get it. No is a complete sentence. And like some of you have friends, be like Michael Jackson and tell them no. How that song go? Tell the angels no. Tell them no. You guys, no is one of the most powerful words in your vocabulary, because to say yes to you means to say no to me. Hey, Walter, my wife lost her job. Can we borrow $2,000? No, because that's 2,000 I can flip and turn into 5. The answer is no. And if I tell you no and you don't like me, we're not friends in the first place.
Absolutely. So I actually want to leave on this note. Of course, you guys know, maybe you don't know, but Sister Ava Muhammad, Dr. Ava Muhammad of the Nation of Islam. She's a national spokeswoman for the Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. She did pass away last week. Very dynamic woman. She, was the highest ranking woman in the Nation of Islam ever. A very wise woman. And I read her book, Weapons of Self-Destruction, about a year or so ago. And then I reread it just most recently when she passed. And I plan on getting her other works. But I actually sent this passage to Walter the other day that she said in the book. And it says, I am a cancer survivor, and my mother and father both died of cancer. A large number of cancer patients are people who focus on the needs of others and experience a great deal of pressure to perform services for others. In addition, they suppress their feelings about being burdened with an inordinate level of responsibility. You must take care of yourself, no matter who you consult, no matter what you read, including this book. You have to commit to making the change in your life in order to bring about balance. You have to find new ways to relate to your friends and family. So I sent that to Walter because, as you guys may or may not know, Walter is dealing with prostate cancer. And so she was saying, and it's also known that stress is one of the causes of cancer because it just does a lot to your body. It's negative energy. And so it does, help cancer progress. And so I said that to him because, we do have to find new ways of dealing with our friends and family. And of course, you'll have people latching onto you for whatever reason. It doesn't always have to be about money. It could be about somebody just wanting to dump garbage onto you every day. You have to find a way to say, you know what? I can't deal with that. That's not my issue. More than likely, I've already talked to you about it 20 times before. So 21 times is not going to make a difference. So I got to save myself, because if you don't save yourself, then you're not going to be able to help anyone else. And there's a lot of people who have dealt with, illnesses. And as they're looking back on it all, they would say, I wish I would have said no a lot sooner. Because as I also heard it, saying no to other people means saying yes to yourself. And we need to get rid of that guilt of, oh gosh, I don't want to tell people no because they're going to think I'm a bad person. And, sometimes you got to tell people no. Because if you keep telling people yes, they won't figure out life on their own. They'll continue to think, well, I'll just go to my rich cousin, my rich uncle or daddy, and they'll continue just to, give me money or, whatever. But they say if you give a man a fish, then he'll eat for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. And so a lot of cases, when you say no to people, you actually teach them how to figure out their situations on their own. So alleviate the stress off of yourself, save yourself by telling people no sometimes.
Tell them no. And what up, Shawnee? She's my new client. Actually, for those of you who don't know, I have a consulting business. For $100 a month, I consult people directly on the phone, one-on-one, email, whatever. So the thing about saying no, and when I say no, I mean tell other people too. Like, helping somebody that can help themselves is a disaster to them. By far. I tell you, man, there's been instances in my life, like I'll get phone calls from people. Because people go, oh, he travels, he's doing this, he's living his best life. But man, when I hang up this podcast, matter of fact, I'm probably going to be on the phone with Shawnee because I got her stuff all sitting here on my kitchen counter. like when I hang up from here, I'm going to work. And then I make, so my black ass is in the kitchen when my girl get home. So I make dinner for me and her every night that I'm home, which is great. It is what it is. I'm Mr. Mom. What is, thanks for the money. So, but you have to start telling people no. And if you are the type of person that calls somebody for shit on a regular basis, please grow the hell up. Don't be the reason they have caller ID. Like, thank God, hallelujah, Jesus, Muhammad, Allah, everybody, Harishnaba, for caller ID. Don't be the person that calls somebody for shits. Be the person, like, when I pick up the phone, we doing something. So a lot of people will guilt you. Oh, like, how come you don't help me? Help yourself. Me helping you is me helping you. And my sister sent me that quote right on. I'm not telling you that quote where they say God is not, well, how does it go? But he's always on time. That's how I felt when I got that quote. Because I was like, man, I'm digging in my pocket to help these people. And then when I look at the rate of return on that money, I could have flipped in over 30 years. I gave your ass $10,000. But in 30 years, me flipping that shit is $1 million. I just took $1 million from my family's net worth because your ass want to be on a fantasy football league, and on Sundays and Saturdays, you won't get your black ass up and get to work. Be a grown ass man and take care of your shit. When your wife goes to bed, man, my girlfriend goes to sleep and she's like, Walter, where were you? I said, I was downstairs working so I can get your ass out of work. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Brother, I'm talking to the black men, as you figured out, right? You wake up before your woman and you get your ass to work. You work out, jump in the sauna, do what you got to do, get your groove on, your grind on. She wakes up, you deal with her. She has to go to work. You work, and when she goes to bed, you get your black ass back to work. That's how kings and pharaohs did it back in the days, and that's what we need to do, period. And black women, if you got a man and he not on his shit, you kick him in the butt. Period. Stop dealing with these sorry Negroes. I ain't saying you got to cut them. Don't criticize them, rip them apart, but get up under them. Baby, we could be doing this. Why don't we do it this way? When we get that going, and then we get our legacy, and we tell our kids, I got you. Like, I'll end with this. My kids know I'm a safety net because I always tell them, I'm your safety net. What that means is you can take all the risk. You can fail as many times as you want. I will be your safety net. And that's what parents are supposed to be. Donald Trump, whatever you feel about him, his father was rich. However he got the money, it's on him. But I guarantee you, Barron Trump, when he even named his kid a rich name like Barron, like who does that? Somebody ultra rich. Barron Trump, Ivanka, Tiffany, well, they joke about her, but all of them know at the end of the day, they have a safety net. Imagine that. Imagine seeing your kids feel that way. Because some of us is too late. Our parents ain't going to be a safety net. Right? Most of us will become a safety net for our parents on this live. I guarantee most of us will probably be a safety net for them. But imagine looking your kids and your grandkids in the face and going, you know what? They're safe because of me. That is when the tree gets stronger. And so ending it with the Shaquille O'Neal thing, I think he's doing the right thing, even regardless of what his strategy is. The fact that he's talking about it is huge. And a living wage, going to school, you can do without either one of them. Because when I hang up with this podcast, I'm going to jump in my own business. Period. I got a car outside.
I'm 2 hours ahead of you, so I'm going to go and I'm going to kick my feet up because I've been up early.
I mean, you can grind it. You know, they say early. I mean, like, you know, you grind it. You work until you drop so you can chill and play. You guys, like right now, most of us, it's only 5 o'clock, so the sun is out everywhere in the U.S.
See, this is what I have to keep me on track. My daily planner, I have to write everything down, and it's working. I'm like, oh, okay. I could chill a little bit today because I typically load everything at the beginning of the week. you know, so I can kind of start going downhill a little bit. But yeah, this is the move right here. And I got one for my budgeting as well. I know what I have at the beginning of the month and what I'm gonna spend, you know, in between there, so I can save money. So this is the move, y'all. Get one on that.
Everybody should have a daily planner. This daily planner stays out. I don't leave the house. Even if I go on vacation, my planner comes with me. Because the cool thing about having your shit planned out is if you forget to do something, you could always go back and go, oh shit, I skipped that whole page.
I ain't do nothing today.
Well, I did something today. I just didn't do that today. So
yeah.
you
and
can
just move it over to the next day. I mean, but you'll have it in front of you.
Yeah, maybe we could talk about that one day.
Yeah, we should. Next week, maybe we'll talk about, you know, planning your day so that you can ultimately have a better life. So anyway, we're going to get out of here. We love and appreciate y'all for going over time with us. Thank you, Walter, for being here with us every Wednesday, imparting your wisdom and knowledge upon us. Again, we have a Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. If you guys want to help, most definitely like the video. If you haven't already, think about becoming a member. And thank you to all my members for subscribing. Love and appreciate you to death. And for those of you guys who want to give and you can't, I love you too. I understand. So we will see y'all. Donovan, I don't know if Donovan will be on here next Sunday because he's going back to the DR. I don't know. So if he's not here, I will be here by myself, and maybe I'll have somebody else sitting here with me so we can have a conversation with y'all. But anyway, you guys be well and have a great rest of y'all evening. We will see y'all later. Peace.